Thank you so much. Well, President Obama's Deficit Commission, they delayed their final vote on the recommendation. But I want to get now to Peter Cook, who broke that news about the Fiscal Commission and their plan. And he's there with Senator Gregg, who is one of the commission members.
Senator Gregg is one of the commission members, the Republican from New Hampshire, also, of course, the ranking member of the Budget Committee and a key driver behind this commission in the first place. Thank you for the time. And we walked through some of the highlights of this final plan. You know these issues as well as anybody here on the Hill. Is this a plan you can support?
It is. It's got some warts, to say the least, but nobody's going to get everything they want out of these types of exercises because the purpose is to build a bipartisan consensus that can actually pass. But this is the right step. You know, it's time to govern. We can no longer ignore the fact that this country is on an unsustainable track. We've got two choices. We can either make these difficult decisions, many of which will affect a lot of Americans, but not in a draconian way. Or we can wait and let the whole thing blow up, and then everybody will be affected in a very draconian way.
What about the politics here? You've got the commission meeting today. The final vote is scheduled for Friday. You need 14 of 18 to send this on to trigger congressional consideration. Does the vote matter? Will you get to 14?
You know, I'm almost of the opinion the vote doesn't matter that much. My view is that what this proposal is, which is a very serious proposal as to how we could actually make a major step towards getting this government under control, its spending under control and its deficits. It becomes the memo that sort of controls the meeting. And now it's time for the leadership to step up, the president, the leadership of the Congress, and to say, okay, if this isn't the way to do it, show us your plan. And if you don't have a plan, at least take this plan to the American people by bringing it through the Congress.
Now, you know there are people who are already taking shots at this. They did over the past few weeks. The Social Security changes, benefit cuts here, raising the retirement age. Those things have to happen to make Social Security solvent, because others would argue they don't.
Yeah, they do. And anybody who says they don't is misleading the American people. Social Security is insolvent right now. It's basically paying out more than it's taking in. To get that money, there's no money around to get it. You have to borrow it from China. The simple fact is we've got to correct the Social Security situation, or there will be a draconian cut in Social Security benefits around the year 2030. You don't have to have that happen. I mean, you can take action now, which will hardly be felt by anybody, especially people who are on the system now, won't be feeling these cuts, these actions at all. But people coming onto the system will have a solvent system, which will be strong for the next 75 years without any very significant changes.
You are leaving the Congress, retiring at the end of this year. Tell me what happens next year with this plan. We're not going to see a vote this year. How does this ball get moved forward?
Well, my view is that the American people are way ahead of the Congress. The American people understand that you can't pass on to your kids a country that's just insolvent. It's in debt to the point of 100% of our GDP being made up by debt. And they want change. They want the country to step up. They want the Congress to step up and take some tough decisions. This is a blueprint for making those tough decisions. So I think any government that's in place next year is going to have to do this. I just don't think you can claim you're a government unless you do the job of governing. And the job of governing right now is getting our fiscal house in order.
All right, I know you've got to run to the commission. Let me ask you one final question on the taxes here, the trade-off here. Lower overall tax rates, both for individuals and for corporations. In exchange, a reduction of those tax rates. In the case of corporations, the recommendation here is essentially get rid of all those tax rates. You know the fight that's going to follow as a result of that. Walk me through that. Can that trade-off be sold to the American people, to companies?
Makes a lot of sense to me. You know, the tax debate today is about raising rates. You know, how much are we going to raise people's rates? Why don't we have the tax debate about how much we're going to lower the rates? And that's what this proposal does. Dramatically lowers rates for all Americans and for corporations in exchange of what you pay for that by eliminating deductions and exemptions. That means money will be invested not for the purposes of avoiding taxes, but for the purposes of getting a good return, which means the economy will be charged up by a tax law, which is basically capital, which favors capital investment, which favors investing for the purposes of generating income. And that, I think, is going to create great economic activity. This basically tracks what the Reagan-Bradley bill did in 1986, President Reagan, Senator Bradley. It significantly reduces rates while in either totally eliminating deductions or exemptions or dramatically curtailing them.
All right, Senator Gregg, we'll be watching the commission today. Thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You have to run.
Thank you, Peter.
And so that's Senator Gregg, one of the 18 members of the Fiscal Commission now must consider this plan being submitted today. Betty?